Greetings and welcome everyone to Reassembly and to the second part of my 500p tournament. Now, in this episode, we're going to be focusing on Group B, which includes Snare by Spectralite, WSFF Spearhead by Leon Whitestar, Snapshot Mark IV by Cakeman 2000, This Fighter by Pikminicus. I love that name. It tastes good, damn it. I like saying it. HMSS Viper by Red Racer B18 and Dr. Death by Prisoner 108. And rather than spend too much time just talking about the tournament itself, let's actually start this and see how things go. Okay, we're going to be seeing the Spectralite Snare up against Cakeman 2000 Snapshot Mark IV first of all. Now, I'm not going to be, or at least I'm very much going to be trying to avoid mentioning who won the first part of the tournament from Group A, since there may be some people who are seeing this as the first video they watch of the tournament, so I don't want to make any spoilers, but wow, Spectralite did well there. It was all calm, and then suddenly everything kicked off. But Spectralite seems to have one very powerful main gun, AoE weapon, and yeah, that seems to have just absolutely overwhelmed Snapshot Mark IV's armor there. Snapshot Mark IV was, of course, using laser beams and some sort of like heavier missiles. They seem to be guided, though. But next up is this fighter, and oh, this fighter, well, they've got maneuverability on their side, but wow, every single shot from Snare is just annihilating this fighter, and honestly, I don't think they stood much of a chance. A lovely barrage of missiles there. They've got lots of flat guns. It looks like they are built for trying to combat other missiles, but these huge weapons like that, there's just too much damage. It just splashes all over the fighter and takes it out. It's a very small ship and, wow, very sparsely armored, so it's not really that much of a surprise. Now, against Dr. Death. These are two very, very attractive-looking ships, I must say. But that main weapon, that splash damage it's able to bring to bear, is very potent. Though, that said, Dr. Death's lasers are cutting a hole straight through the ship. Is it going to be too much? No, the Snare managed to get away. That was close, though. I think the Snare's cockpit was practically exposed there at the back through the thrusters that the lasers had just burnt away. Now, the front of Dr. Death is exposed, but there's so much armor that Snare is going to have to work its way through. I'm not sure which one is going to win this. If it can get a couple of good volleys of its AoE weapons there, it'll be able to reduce the incoming DPS enormously. But, ooh, bad times. No, don't turn around. It's going to be the end for you if you do. Oh, I did warn you. Snare, you needed to get away from that. Dr. Death is quite determined, it would seem. It's got a mix of armor and shields, which is quite nice to see. And this time, wow, just absolutely annihilated Snare. It had learned the tactic and applied it straight away. But Dr. Death seems to take armor seriously. Now, we're up against the HMSS Viper this time. Another very nicely designed ship here, actually. I like the color scheme. It's got drones. It's got, looks like lasers and a splashdown, a point defense weapon. Splash damage weapon, like the large plasma gun, it seems. Is that actually? Oh no, that isn't splash damage. It's just a large plasma. Okay, and also some point defense. So it's got a fairly good range of weaponry. Right now, it is winning simply because the drones. Oh, though once the Snare got in close and brought its main weapon to bear, that did a huge amount of damage. And if you stay too close, oh wow, just stripped the ship of almost everything but its cockpit and one laser and a few thrusters. Now it's down to the HMSS Viper's drones to try and keep the Snare occupied for long enough for the HMSS Viper to repair itself, and it seems that they're doing a very good job of that. My lord, the Snare is really not capitalizing on its strong position here. May cost it a victory, honestly. Though its point leader, there's every possibility that the Viper can recover from this. And if it does, it's going to be one heck of a comeback. Very close now on points. The Viper may be able to pull this back. If those drones can just keep up the damage, and the Viper can avoid being hit. No, it just took a hit. Though, it looks like... Oh my lord, it looks like the Viper just stole that victory. Wow, the Snare did so much damage to it, practically stripped it of everything, and the Viper still came back. That was fantastic work there, Viper. That was absolutely amazing. Alright, let's see how this one plays out. Let's speed up time a little bit, because these two combatants seem to want to kind of stay at long range and just take pot shots at each other, occasionally sweeping past, but not too much else. But it looks like in this engagement, if the Snare doesn't get in close, I fancy it's going to lose, simply because the drones are able to apply so much DPS over time. Alright, let's speed up time again. I'll keep speeding it up and slowing it down as the ships get in close to each other. Ooh, that was a fairly good engagement there by Snare. But still, Viper is coming out on top, and it's only pulling further away. I simply don't think Snare's got the right kind of AI to be able to deal with this. It's not focusing its weapons, it's not pressing the advantage that it has. It's definitely the heavier armoured of the two ships. I fancy Snare could probably safely get in really close and just go hell for leather. And wow, Snare, did you just pull that back? Oh my lord. It's as if they're doing it on purpose. They're giving us a show, ladies and gentlemen. They have clearly had a bit of a discussion in the locker rooms, and they've decided to add a little bit of drama. Perfect showmen and showwomen. Very, very well played. Very well played indeed. But this is the decider now, so it all has to be serious business. Snare's really not letting up. Oh, is Snare going to be able to finish the job? Probably. It's not letting up. Ah, Snare. You were teasing us the first time, weren't you? And the second, sorry. No, just the first time, actually thinking about it. But that was a really good victory there. That was a really, really fun fight overall. I liked it a lot. You'd almost be forgiven for thinking the AI is actually learning the weaknesses in the first and second rounds, and then just applying that knowledge in the third. But the WSFF Spearhead is a very, very nice ship. Smaller than the Snare, but equally well designed. I'm really liking the look of the ships that we've got in this tournament. We've got some very, very handsome ships. Very handsome indeed. Now, the Spearhead is vastly out DPSing the Snare. Points-wise, the Spearhead has this. It's already stripped the Snare of its primary weapon, and it's not letting up with the missile barrages. Every time it gets in, it brings to bear so much Dakar. It's really nice to see a ship that is actually using Dakar as one of its primary weapons. I'm saying primary here because I fancy it has much more damage potential with its Dakar than it does with its missiles. But that was a convincing victory. You literally took the Snare apart there, Leon Whitestar. Very nice indeed. Let's speed things up, get you guys in close. There we go. Let's see how this one goes. The Snare, that first shot, so important because that first fully charged blow is so devastating. But it seems that it's so easy to overshoot or undershoot, as the case may be. And once again, oh, direct connection this time. I was about to say Leon Whitestar, their WSFF Spearhead seems to be dominating, but no, that one shot changed the lay of the battle completely. Let's see how this one goes. Let's get you guys in close and let's see how this goes. As we've seen, one connection from that primary weapon is enough to completely cripple the Spearhead. How are you going to do? Are you saving this up? It looks like Snare is saving it up, but are they going to be able to predict? It's close. Wasn't quite close enough, unfortunately. And if the Spearhead manages to wipe out that main weapon, then you're in a lot of trouble. Again, another really close attempt. Very, very close. But I fancy with this engagement, oh, the Spearhead knew what was coming. It's seen the awesome power of that weapon. It's not about to let you get a free shot off like that again. And huge amount of damage done to the primary weapon. It's gone. I fear that this is going to be the Spearhead's victory at this point. Everything for the Snare seemed to be coming down to that one weapon system. If that could get off one good solid hit on the Spearhead, it just didn't have the fortitude to withstand it. But without it, so much damage from the combination of its point defense and flak and missile systems. Okay, the Snapshot versus this fighter. Let's see how this one goes. This fighter is fantastically well equipped to deal with the overwhelming amount of missiles. Well, I hesitate calling them missiles. They seem to be guided, but... Oh, no, never mind. It was the laser that took him out. But they do seem to be guided, but they're so much more substantial than the missiles that this fighter is firing. They're almost like torpedoes, just guided torpedoes. But it looks like this is going to come down to a war of lasers. Oh, no, the fighter failed to shoot down those incoming missiles, and that was it. I wonder what happened with this fighter's point defense. It seemed to just stop trying. Okay, Snapshot versus Dr. Death. Once again, this incredibly well-built ship. Oh, wow, look at the damage it can reap with that. That is fantastic. Huge amount of armor on the front, 2 shields, and just so many cheap lasers. Those are cheap ones. That's the interesting thing here, is that whereas in my campaign I've always gone for the burst lasers because they're smaller, I can fit more of them. They are fantastically expensive. But these ones, they've just gone for a bigger ship to accommodate a larger amount of those lasers, which they can afford because they cost so little. Once there's a group of them, they do impressive amounts of damage, to be fair. I do like the shape of this ship overall, though. It's like an arrowhead design. Though, if you're just going to stand there and let the Cake Man wallop you with those incredible torpedo-like weapons. Though, never mind. The Cake Man got a little bit too confident in its abilities because it had done a bit of damage and tried to go against you head-to-head. Bad move there. Okay, let's see how things go out with the Viper. Again, a fantastic first volley, but those missiles, whatever they are much slower, much less agile than the other weapons we see. And the Viper just doesn't care. Too much DACA there for the Cake Man to be... the Snapshot Mark IV to be able to withstand. I do apologize when I call the ship by the wrong name. And once again, wow, okay, just lots of DACA there. So the Viper and the Spearhead, very DACA-intensive ships. Now let's see how the Spearhead does against Cake Man. Again, I feel that if any of these weapon systems actually hit, yeah, they'll just split it apart. That was a convincing victory for Snapshot. Convincing victory. And is it going to be able to pull this off again? Are those missiles going to get in close? We've seen that the Spearhead has an awful lot of point defense. No, this time the Spearhead knew what was coming. It was ready. And let's see how this one does. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. It's definitely trying to avoid the incoming damage by strafing this time, even when not using its point defense. So, well done there for the Spearhead. Next up, we've got this fighter versus Dr. Death. I fancy that this fighter, brave though it is going up against almost impossible odds. I do not think it has the damage potential to wear down Dr. Death's shield and armor systems. Whereas Dr. Death, if it gets close enough, I fancy it's going to be able to take out this fighter in one blast from its lasers. We'll have to see that, though, because they are dancing around each other at the moment, and this fighter is just getting an opportunity to rack up points. But here we go, the lasers are engaged, and yeah, I thought as much. Don't worry, this fighter, you did quite well against such a powerful opponent, honestly. I think you should feel proud of that. You were point leader right up until that moment. Though you're getting a little bit too close, far too close, and there we go, Dr. Death finished you off. Never mind. It's nice to see people trying little designs like that. I actually do quite appreciate it. Now, this fighter versus the Viper. I fancy the DACA is going to be absolutely lethal here, but the drones are probably not going to be able to do too much, since Viper doesn't seem to launch enough of them fast enough. No, never mind. But it doesn't seem to launch enough drones fast enough to be able to deal with this fighter's point defense, but wow, its DACA can just absolutely annihilate it. And that main gun, if that plasma actually connects, there we are, even through the shield, one-shot kill. Very well done, Viper. Next up, we have this fighter versus the Spearhead. Now, this fighter could go out to the missiles with the Spearhead. I'm not sure. This fighter is actually incredibly fast, and its point defense is doing really well. Doing very, very well. But I fancy if it lingers too long near that amount of DACA, it's going to go down. No, actually, I take it back. It seems the point defense just doesn't have enough opportunity to really wear down the shields. At the moment, this fighter is point leader. Oh no, there we go. One shield has gone down, but this fighter could still pull back from this. No, it cannot. Wow. That was precision attacks there by the Spearhead. It looked like it only damaged the control module, left everything else on the ship intact. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Right, okay, let's see. How much damage does this fighter actually do to the Spearhead? It seems that it's taken off a couple of the point defense guns, maybe a few of the thrusters, but overall it's more or less a foregone conclusion really with that one. Okay, next up we've got Dr. Death versus the Viper. How are these two ships going to do? The Viper has an interesting design, but I fear it's going to fail the same way to the Dr. Death's overwhelming lasers. It's got an interesting shaped ship, but it does leave it vulnerable at the back and the middle. It seems to have this very thin spine that houses the control module. And Dr. Death is just literally cleaving parts of the ship off. It was as if it had it on a chopping board. And there we go. No, still in this. Very nice work, Viper. Very nice work. Point leader as well. Those drones are doing a very good job for you. But I fear that being there is not good. Oh, bad luck. You put up a very valiant effort there. Okay, up next against the Spearhead. Let's see, Dr. Death versus Spearhead. Now, I'm really interested in this one because Spearhead seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. It's doing really well in unexpected ways and has gone down in ways that I didn't expect before. So I'm wondering how it's going to deal with Dr. Death, which, honestly, I'm really surprised it's doing so well with such cheap weapons. This may well come down to points, but I fancy it. All Dr. Death needs is one good engagement. It's managed to strip off some of the Spearhead's maneuvering thrusters, but just the constant barrage of missiles is doing fantastic work for the Spearhead here. It's just a constant pressure on Dr. Death. And whenever Dr. Death does get close enough, it's not like the Spearhead is any slouch in close combat either. In fact, I fancy it's got more damage potential in close combat than at long range. But it just really cannot allow Dr. Death's lasers to get involved in this fight. It's managed to strip Dr. Death of its main thrusters. No, Leon Whitestar, you did it! I thought you were about to sacrifice yourself there. That was fantastic. Leon Whitestar's Spearhead knew when to strike to end that conflict. And this is what I mean. The Spearhead is a very mixed bag. It's doing fantastically well in unexpected ways. Ooh, though that doesn't look healthy at all. The fact that the Spearhead is just in a spin right now, it needs to fix that, I fear. Though, again, it's managed to cleave off half of Dr. Death's thrusters. The other half is also gone now. The Spearhead could basically keep Dr. Death where it wants and just continue to attack from an advantageous direction. Well, there we are. That's exactly what Spearhead did. Moved around the rear and took it out from behind. Well done. Now, the last battle here, we've got the HMS's Viper versus the WSFF Spearhead. Which of you two is going to win? You're both interesting ships that seem to focus on the same kinds of attack, though the Viper doesn't really use missiles, it uses drones instead, but it does have that sort of long-range fire-and-forget weapon. But it probably has much more focused close-range damage than the Spearhead, so it's an interesting one, this one. Which is going to come out on top? Both have enough point defense to more or less negate the other ship's long-range firepower. Oh, it looks like Spearhead's going in for a solid attack there. Spearhead definitely with less damage than the Viper. It has sustained far less damage to critical systems. The Viper looks like it's spinning out of control. Is this an opportunity for the Spearhead to press the advantage? No, maybe not. Spearhead is choosing caution over aggression here. I'm not sure if that's going to have been a good call, but we'll have to see. Let's speed this up just a little bit, see how they can... Oh, slow down, they're in close quarters. That shield goes down very quickly once the Spearhead gets close, but that's to be expected really with that amount of firepower hitting the shield. There we go, down again, but the Spearhead's just not getting an opportunity to do much damage to the ship itself. Whereas every time it gets in close, the Viper at least gets a couple of shots off, but it came down to points. Well done, Spearhead. Well done indeed. Let's speed this up, though, and watch the battle play out once again. Is it going to play out in exactly the same way? It looks like it will. I don't see the AI doing anything differently this time. Though that said, the Viper currently has point leader. Now that is different. Are the drones proving to be much of a problem for the Spearhead? It might be. Also, that main weapon on the Viper is doing very, very well. It's getting a good couple of close shots off. Though it looks like it's whenever the Spearhead gets in close and can bring a full volley of its point defense against the Viper that it really just takes off in score. But we'll have to see if that plays out to its advantage or not this time, because the scores are much closer this time. Much, much closer. And that's what will happen sometimes. It seems that sometimes the battle will just begin, and the initial engagement will almost dictate the way the battle is going to progress. Even though I couldn't see much damage having been done to the Viper in the last fight, it just didn't ever really get up off the ground after that initial engagement. It stayed in the fight, certainly, but didn't really pull back the way it is here. But no, the Leon Whitestar's Spearhead managed to pull through. Very well done, but we have a clear winner in this. Leon Whitestar, 5 wins. Well done there. So no room for me to get involved, but we'll note that much more of the combatants in this group were close to 550. The Snare, the Spearhead, and the Snapshot, all more or less 550, whereas Dr. Death had the lowest points at 509, and Viper and this fighter both fairly close around the 515 mark. But that was a very, very good battle, and Leon Whitestar's WSFF Spearhead moves forward. It is the winner of Group B. Now in the next episode we will be seeing who from Group C will win, and to refresh your memories, that will be Beware, Shieldhead, the Apoaptic Anomaly, Sunfire, the B-Day Arrow, and CSHF Queen Mark II. I hope you're looking forward to that episode. But until then, and as always, do take care.